We know y'all see us. We see you too.
Hey.
Well, we don't, but we know you're there.
Yeah, we definitely know. Okay, so I need to
All right. I'll move my chair. Am I good still?
Yep.
All right, y'all. Welcome to HighVibe Media and Marketing Group. This is your girl, Lotus J, and we are live at the Vibe. And this is our Tuesday night show, The Blacker the Berry. And we are excited about this show. We've been talking about it for a while, so kind of excited to get this one going. So we got some good stuff playing, good conversation that I think is very, very necessary. And I really am excited to share with you some of the research that I've been doing on this particular topic. We're going to be talking about Africans born on the continent of Africa and Africans born here in America. So, but bridging the gap, because we definitely do not promote division at all. So that's what we're talking about tonight. All right, so how y'all doing?
What's up?
Hey.
Good. All right, so let's what's up, homie? Daryl the G Alexander. You got a little bit of volume on you today. A little bit of excitement. You took a nap.
I got a question.
You don't look like
I got
Serious
a
as
question.
cancer.
Why is it that every time you introduce anybody, it becomes a production?
Cause I'm just
Cause she like
Extra.
You didn't say that loud.
No,
What is wrong with you? Is he sleepy? That was loud. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Can we do this again?
do I do that?
Every time we get introduced, it's like
Okay.
that's too
It's a big
loud.
deal.
That's
My
too
question
low.
is, why you always gotta front people out on air? Like you can't like.
What I'm
do
supposed to
that.
hold it in?
You supposed to do it before
Am I
we
supposed
air.
to like not talk?
Do it
She
before
just
we air.
said it. I couldn't.
But you
I
said
couldn't
you do it all
address
the
it.
time, which means you noticed it last week. You could have texted her about it.
Oh no, we don't roll like that.
Just
don't
buzz her
really-
on out.
No.
Buzz her on out.
Right.
That is called
You
a
know
fake
what?
friendship.
I noticed both of y'all do that.
See?
Do what?
Bust people out on air.
Oh yeah, cause I was watching the show last night from last week, and I'm texting G. I was like, "Solar get mad at me every week."
No, I don't.
She don't be mad.
do
She
not
just
be
be
mad.
confused.
She don't be confused. I ain't gonna let you play her like that.
Don't play me.
Queen Solar is in the building. That's a production. Did I just do? Was I just
Well,
extra?
wait, we got to
That
hear a
was-
response first.
Yes, I'm in the building.
I can't. I hear you. What?
Yes, I'm in the building.
Okay.
Yes.
And across the table from me, we have the beautiful Queen, Dr. Lucy. I'm so excited to get to know her at the table tonight. Welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You are most
Thank
welcome.
you for coming.
Yes, thank you for coming. We appreciate
This was supposed to be a live production, but she got antsy.
No, we're going to build up to it, because what we want to do is have a conversation here in the studio to introduce the conversation about Africans born on the continent versus Africans here in America. But then we want to do a live in front of a live audience. We'll do it at Brick House on a Sunday afternoon, and then invite the community out to come and participate in the dialogue.
That would be great.
So that's the goal. You like that idea?
I love that.
I do
idea.
too. What about you, Solar?
I love it. I think it's very necessary.
I do too. I'm kind of excited about that. We want your opinion too. You
About what? What are we talking about?
you don't even know what I was just
What was
saying.
you saying?
He's so good at ignoring me.
No, what
I
happened?
said we think that that's a good idea to do a panel discussion at Brick House and bring in the two together.
Yes,
All of that for a simple.
it's excellent.
I know,
idea.
right? He had to hear the question.
Right.
He should
Well,
have just said
if
yes.
she were listening, she would notice that I'm the one that said this is supposed to be a live show. I started it off.
I did listen.
I started the conversation.
Yes, you
off.
did. Is our volume good?
I hear you.
I need to.
But what about on the thing? Did you check just to make sure? I guess they would send us messages if they couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
That's it
All
right
right.
there, right?
Yeah. All right, so let's do some updates. What happened over the weekend? Anybody? What you do over the weekend, Dr. Lucy? Anything fun?
I had a very interesting weekend. I was at my friend's place. We had dinner and met a new couple that we had not met before.
Oh.
And we ended up staying there till almost the wee hours of the morning.
Okay.
Food was great. The company was great, and the discussions were fantastic.
Isn't it cool when
Wow.
you get to meet new people and you just vibe like that?
You know, By the
is.
time we left, it was like we had been with these people for years and years.
Yeah. I love that.
Wow, that
Just
sounds a
natural.
lot like my weekend.
What'd you do? Tell us.
I did pretty much the same thing.
That's
I didn't
cool.
leave in the wee hours of the morning, but we stayed there all day. My husband already knew the guy and the guy. I think they're just friends. But we got an opportunity to meet his family. My children played with their children, and they were playing like they were brothers and sisters, like they had been knowing each other. And I got a chance to build with a sister.
That's
A really
cool.
nice sister. So I was pleased.
That's cool.
But here's the thing. We had just came from emptying out the storage, like switching from storage to storage. So we were sweaty, hot, stinky, right? Like me and the children and my husband. And so he brings us. We go to Dallas in his car, of course, with no AC. So that's just added on funk, right? Then he takes me to their house.
That funk on top of funk.
Then
Then you gotta go meet some new people.
Right, and then I had to get a sister a hug, and so I had to give a disclaimer like, sister, I kind of been out working all day. Like, it was just crazy.
That's funny.
But other than that part, I had a fabulous time.
That's cool.
Fabulous time.
That's cool. What about you, G? How was your weekend?
It was okay.
Really?
What'd I do?
Well, Friday you traveled a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Where'd you
yeah.
go?
So long ago.
Saturday.
You getting old if you can't remember.
Remember what?
You're so not here.
My point exactly.
You just so not here right now.
I am. I like your glasses, Lotus.
You do?
Yeah. Can you actually wear them?
Don't let him deflect.
I'm not deflecting. What? I didn't do anything Friday. I didn't do
You
anything
traveled.
Saturday.
Where did you
I
go?
didn't travel.
Nah, you
She
just
just
had
said
some
that.
business to take care
She
of.
said I traveled. I didn't say I traveled.
Okay.
Lotus said that.
Okay.
What else? Saturday, what did I do?
Hung out at
I
Brick House.
worked. See, it's work day. It's work on the weekend. So Sunday, I worked.
Yeah. What's up with the basketball team? Tell us something.
We'll start up in October.
He coaches a team of boys and two teams, huh, G?
Yeah.
In Oak Cliff, is it?
Yep.
Yep, Oak Cliff. So that's cool.
I got some tickets to the Rangers game next Tuesday that I got to take some kids to.
Can we all go?
Nice.
Yeah. Just
How many tickets you
got to
have?
bring some kids though.
I can
Dang.
bring mine.
Yeah.
Mine can.
I don't have no
I got
children.
like 12 tickets. What is Naya? A parrot?
No, now you better be working.
Oh.
Shoot.
I have no children. What kind of talk?
I'll take one of hers.
Yeah, you can take one of mine. I got two. Okay. Yeah, we covered.
All right. So,
But what did you do?
huh? Over the weekend, worked. I worked a lot because he was gone, which means I was there. And then I had a day party too. So Friday all day, and then Saturday I worked the whole weekend. Sunday we had a reunion party. It was a really nice party. They had a 25th year and a reunion for Carter High School. So that was kind of cool when you watching people that haven't seen each other in a long time. That was kind of fun. I like that. So that's about it over this weekend. I don't think I did anything different. Yesterday was a beautiful day because I did not go out of the house
You didn't leave the house
Oh,
yesterday?
and
at all.
I almost pulled you out the house.
I told you I was going to go, but
I know,
that was
but-
cool when you said I wasn't going. I just wasn't going to be the one to not go. But when you was like, I was like, okay, good. I don't got to put on no clothes. I chilled all day long.
I bet you that was a beautiful
Oh, my
feeling.
God. I sat out on the patio most of the day.
Nice.
Yep, so that was my weekend. So, anything... Oh, we got some stuff coming up we need to talk about. We have anything special this weekend? I don't think anything different.
Nope.
Man's Point of View is on Thursday. That's a talk show that we do live at Brick House. This week's topic is, does traditional marriage still work?
Oh my God.
Yep,
I threw a little post out there about polygamy, and
they went wild.
it's going well.
And I just
all
got
I can
finished having
say.
a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Polygamy?
Polygamy, marriage, infidelity, all of that.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that Thursday.
Wow.
So that's Thursday at Brick House at 9 o'clock.
I was surprised some women were like, what's that? You got any more of that polygamy stuff?
I'm
But,
telling you,
some
like-
women are interested, like,
I need to come because I got.
I would think you would think everybody would just say no, especially black women in America. You think they would just say no, I ain't sharing.
I don't think like that.
There's some out there like,
I do.
I don't think like that.
Like, explain this.
I'm
Can
not
you break this down a little
necessarily saying
bit?
that I agree with it, but what I am saying is that I respect honesty so much that it happens so much till if we can get to the point where we are honest with each other, I think you need to find people that agree with your lifestyle and your choices. Then people don't get hurt as much. If you know that you like more than one woman, then you need to have conversation with all those women. And if they don't buy into that, then she needs to have the right to make that decision for herself, to either be involved or to not be involved. That's how I feel about that. But I do think, for some people it works.
I think, without giving too much away for Thursday, I think that if women weren't afraid how society and other women would think about it or say about them, or I think more women will say, I'm down to do that. I think it's more of.
You think so? I think it's more of them being just competitive. I'm not trying to be.
I think I'm just
right,
selfish.
but
right.
The women who would consider it won't consider it if,
because they care about what somebody
Solar
else
wants
think.
to do that.
I just
she
told
don't.
you I didn't.
But I'm saying
You probably use
you're
me.
gonna know. Lotus might be like, you might feel embarrassed
if they knew.
If they knew you were part of that, and people would like talk about you.
What you think, Dr. Lucy?
People care what people think.
Well, it depends, because in the African continent, having more than one wife is not a strange phenomenon, and in some cases, the first wife will choose the second wife for the husband.
Now that's real interesting.
And they all live in one community, and everybody is happy.
Under the same roof?
Usually the man has like his house, main house, and then there would be like a different house for the first wife and a different one for the second wife, but they're in the same compound. So he goes, sometimes he eats at the second wife's home or the first wife. And the children intermingle, and
it's
works.
all good.
Wow, so it's like all of the wives can live on one street.
It's all
Oh
good.
my God.
You know
Dr.
what?
Lucy
If
said
everybody's
Thursday.
happy, let everybody be happy.
So people need to come out to Brick House so they can
it's gonna be a good one.
participate in this discussion on Thursday.
I think it's
This
going to
is
be
Or
very-
don't. We still gonna or don't come. We still gonna talk about it.
Okay. All right, so that's Thursday at Brick House. So you guys know we are opening up. We have some new slots available and daytime shows. We have some really good rates for daytime shows if you're interested in doing a show during the day. So make sure you get at one of us if you want more information about that. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah, we do have to do. Zion has his listening party next Wednesday at Brick House Lounge. So we definitely want people to come out to support that at 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday at 2 o'clock, we have our benefit day party to help raise money to help the hurricane victims. So
That's not next week, is it?
yes, it is, the 30th. Next Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Really?
Didn't it go fast?
Time's going.
Yeah. Yeah. Very.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we gotta push. But anyway, we have 3 DJs on stage at one time, and it's a basement party. We done had a lot of people ask us when we're doing another basement party. Next Saturday, the 30th. 2
Day
o'clock day party, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's a benefit.
We're raising money and collecting water to help with the hurricane victims. What else? Gino has his day party this weekend.
That's a night party.
But it kind of started early, though, at 6, right?
No.
Okay, I'm going to be
Lessons
quiet.
start at 6.
Oh, I thought he was doing it all together.
No, he's
okay.
going to the back. They're going to do the lessons.
They're doing lessons in the front, and then
they're
they're going to the back. Oh, okay, okay.
Chicago stepping.
So we have a Chicago step party Saturday night at Brick. So, all right, let's go.
You got something? What are we doing today? Quote or African proverb? What are we doing?
We're doing the African proverbs, Dr. Lucy.
Doc, you got the African proverb?
I do.
I got you some theme music, Doc. This was for
And
Lotus.
I'm going to do a quote. But you could do her first.
You want to do it first?
She could do an African proverb. I'll do a quote, and then Solar do hers.
Okay, but I gotta
then don't
change
forget
this.
about yourself.
I gotta change this music. I can't get Doc this intro music. Hold on, Doc. I got you.
That means he was gonna clown me.
I still got you. All right, Doc. Here you go. I got you something. This is the intro for Doc's.
It sound like from Roots. It's the song from Roots. Yeah, it sound like from Roots.
That is the theme song for Roots.
It is. African proverb. That's perfect.
Right.
She couldn't have handled this other music I had.
We can't treat new people like that.
This is for you. I got this. That is. If you just don't think about Roots and just listen to that music, that's some bad beat right there.
It is.
It's got a lot of stuff going on. People don't really hear it because when you hear it with the visual, you don't hear it.
I like the music.
That's some good stuff right there.
So the way we do our African proverb is you can give us a proverb, and then we have to interpret it, and then you tell us if we're right.
And they'll usually always get it wrong. Just so you know.
Well, this one is everybody. Should
Okay.
A wise man never knows all. Only fools know everything.
Yep.
Go, Dura.
If I go, what are you gonna say? Yeah, what he said.
Okay, let's see.
It means that if you're wise enough to know you don't know everything, and you can learn something every day. A fool already thinks he knows everything. That's why he's a fool. That's what makes him a fool, because he thinks he knows it all and can't learn anything.
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool.
Pretty much what he said. No, but education is infinite. So you can always, like he said, one person can never know everything. So you always have to be educated, always willing to open and willing to learn something new, because you can always be taught and you should always be teachable.
Mm-hmm.
That.
All right.
You
My
ready?
turn.
All right. So we're doing an African theme today, right? So
Yes.
who better to bring in this beat than Africa Bambaataa? Name of that song, Solar. Lotus. You know the name of this? This is your last show. This is your last show.
No,
Like, kid can't answer nothing black. You're dealing with blacks.
you ain't gonna handle her like that. We
You got-
checking your card in.
What era is this from? The 70s? The 60s?
It's not 60s. It's the 80s, actually. It's the 80s.
I was still in diapers.
It's titled "Looking for the Perfect Beat" by Africa
Looking for the
Bambaataa.
perfect beat. That's a hot little beat, too. I remember, that's like real breakdance music right there.
I remember hearing it,
That's like real breakdance music.
but I can't say I know the song, like the author of the song.
All right, so success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed.
We have to interpret that.
No, just guess.
Somebody said that.
It's a quote.
Repeat that one more time.
Success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed. Oh, I love that quote. You want me to give you a
What
hint?
century?
It
I mean, what
is-
decade?
It's a male.
What decade?
I don't know.
You don't.
But
Okay.
it's before our time.
I have no idea.
So this century? I mean, like
Booker
not
T.
not this
Washington.
century. Not this century. This is the
19.
new one. In the 19th century.
Booker T.
Yes.
Really?
See, last
Look
week
how
when I
shocked she
did,
is.
but when I
Look.
did that last week, y'all got mad at me. She was like, "You didn't think I could get it?"
Well, see, you tainted me from last week. That's why I responded like that.
I was
So-
proud of you last week.
You know, you put that energy on me.
I was proud of you.
You were surprised she got it.
Yeah, you really was.
Just like she was surprised she got it.
Yeah, so it flipped.
Everybody's surprised when you get it, even you.
Oh my God, that is so mean.
Be quiet, because I was going through my little Rolodex. Like, who could have said that?
Well, you got it. You did good.
Thank you very much.
Your
I was
turn.
about
I was
to
gonna
say
say Barack
Malcolm
Obama.
X.
That's all. Everyone he says Malcolm
say
X,
Malcolm.
Martin Luther King Jr. or
Barack.
Barack Obama.
That sound like MLK.
Or it
right
might
there.
be he might say
Maya
Oprah
Angelou.
if he or Maya Angelou.
Oh yes,
Angelou.
Maya Angelou.
All right, it's all our turn.
Oh, so long.
Okay,
Wait. Tell music too.
okay.
You like slow your roll.
I know, right? It better be something from my era.
It is.
Oh, I love that music.
From your era too. Really, so long? Really? Wow.
You didn't hear me even trying to cheat. You didn't hear me.
Wow.
You said something with an L.
You're on camera, but you're on camera. Just for the record.
You could be watching me cheat on your phone.
How's that from my era?
That's Lion King.
No wonder she didn't get it. You saying no? That's Coming to America.
Oh, I thought it was Lion King.
That's Coming to America.
I said
That's
that
the
because that's
intro.
what Dr. Lucy said.
But that's
Dr.
the-
Lucy
that's the
said.
intro to Coming to America.
You can't.
Now maybe that was from Lion King.
Dr. Lucy said.
Dr. Lucy's wrong too.
So that's coming to America.
Her doctorate ain't in music.
That is coming to America.
That's coming to. I thought it was Lion King.
That is.
I was waiting for
I
a
haven't
wee
seen that show
boy.
in a
A
long
wee
time.
boy. Okay.
Okay, so the guy who was the first person ever to calculate the speed of the moon in 1946 was named Dr. Walter McAfee. He was a mathematician and a physicist. And the way that he did that, he became a part of the project called the Project Diana. And what they were doing was trying to bounce like radar waves or signals from like different planets or something.
Wow.
So he was able to calculate like the speed of the moon. So I thought that was really cool.
That is.
But
Yeah.
who can that's a brother who did that?
Yeah, it was a brother.
Well, I got a question. Who can test that? If I'm sure it took him some years to come up with that. Who can test that to know that's right?
Right. Like who could prove
I mean,
it wrong?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. I ain't saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that sounds complicated. Bouncing something off planets.
Yeah, he was bouncing radar pulses. So they used some kind of special antenna. But here's the thing that I read about it. They said that so after this initial success, they published it 2 weeks later, but they didn't mention him. They didn't mention that he was a part of that team, because this particular team, Project Diana, had been trying to do this for years. And
Wow.
so once he became a part of the team, he was an educator. I think his family kind of came from slavery, sort of speak.
Yeah.
But he went through went to college and was very smart, and he was inspired to kind of get into physics because of a teacher. He had a really great teacher that inspired him. But they failed to mention that he
That's
was a
cold.
part of that. That he, what you know what
You're
I'm
my
saying?
page.
So that was something that I thought that was very interesting. And
That's way past interesting. That is, I don't understand. I know
They forget him.
Well, this was in 1946, so
they were trying. They didn't forget him.
they didn't. Just
Oh,
like
no,
the
they didn't
sisters
forget
that was
him.
on NASA.
They
you know?
said, scratch that.
Yeah, we're not going to give him
Scratch that
any
name right
accolades
there, yeah.
for his contributions, but
You know what? That's. I watched Hidden Colors. I know I'm late, but I watched Hidden Colors last night.
Was that your first
The
time
first
seeing
I
it?
watched. I don't know how many volumes it is, but I
4.
watched one.
you watched Volume 1?
I was blown away. I'm like,
Now you gonna see.
I was sitting up straight, like
I know. He wasn't even texting me
You
back.
taking notes?
He wasn't even texting me back. I was like,
every black person who has eyes and ears
Need to see
or
Hidden
ears
Colors.
needs to see that series.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Hidden Colors, not Hidden Figures. That's the movie, because that's what I was thinking first.
That's what you thought you was gonna watch.
Hidden Figures.
Nuh-uh.
It's Hidden Colors.
What did you think about it though?
I was just like blown away.
Was it
like-
hard for you to process it? Because it's so different than the history you've been taught.
Well, it would have been hard for me to process 20 years ago. But lately,
Eyes
it's
are open to
a
little
lot
bit more.
easier. But it went even deeper than what I could imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really. It was like, I'm like, wow. You mean we were just erased?
Man.
You know, our history and all, and our
Literally.
intelligence, the history of it, and all of the proof was just.
Have you
people-
seen it, Dr. Lucy?
No, no.
Hit
Oh
it.
my God!
Yeah.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. All
it's
for it.
deep.
It's deep.
It
But
is.
you know what though? Because I've been studying melanin,
Mm-hmm.
and once you like really like look at what melanin can do,
Mhm.
because melanin has something to do with your intelligence, like your level of intelligence too. Like it's just so much. Melanin is so great. Like because I'm still in the beginning stages of studying it, but when you said like all of the contributions that we made and how educated or smart
I'm
that
talking
we
about
were,
major
yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
like that has something to do with our melanin. Like it's just so amazing. But anywho, I'm sure that's another.
But we
show,
need to- we could do
another
a show
topic
on it.
for
That's
another
You
good.
know what I couldn't imagine after I watched that one?
Hmm.
Like, it's 3 more of these.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
you mean
Yeah.
there's 3 more of these, and I was about to pass out on this one?
Just wait. And that one isn't even like the real heavy hitter yet.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It seemed like with
Yeah.
each one it gets more in depth. Yeah.
Wow.
Come on, Petty Wap.
All right, I'm going back to Africa Bambaataa. One more song.
Don't ask me no questions about
I won't.
Bambaataa.
I know you can't. I know you won't be able to get it. But this is back in my era.
Oh, the 50s.
Yeah.
Zulu Nation.
Yeah. This is that breakdance music.
I'm telling you. Yeah, he was bad. That's Planet Rock. By
Rock,
Africa
rock, the
Bambaataa.
planet rock. Don't stop.
That music. We were kids when it came out. It was way deeper than we could even imagine.
Yeah.
It ain't just, you know.
Get your body free. Socialize. Get down. Let's go. So.
Yeah.
I like that.
Come
song.
on, Petty Wap.
Okay, I'm doing one.
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 That's it. That's all you get tonight. is
Okay, let's go.
one. So make it. I'll make it
Make
good.
it count.
This is for the ladies. Do not ask a man any serious questions about love and relationships on the weekend.
Why?
Just do that stuff Monday through Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
You
Let
want
the
a
man
break?
enjoy life.
What?
Do not have him thinking about relationships and romance on the weekends. That's just not fair.
Why? What's
It's
wrong
not.
with it? How is it not fair to talk
Either-
about your relationship on the weekend?
I said those serious, like, we need to talk type stuff.
Well,
do
I
that Monday
just-
Monday to Thursday. Monday through Thursday.
I
Don't
didn't
do
follow
that
the
on
code.
Friday, Saturdays. And let me tell you why. If he worked all week, he don't deserve to have to go through that. on the weekend. If he works weekends, he needs to work.
Either way, just
Either
don't do
way.
it on the weekend.
Weekends ain't good.
Now, what do you mean by he don't
And
deserve to go
Sunday.
through that? Like, that's just something horrible.
If a woman say we need to talk, you know it ain't ever good. So leave him alone on the weekend.
So
Monday
big.
to Thursday, discuss love and relationship and happiness and yeah. And Sunday, don't do it Sunday because you got to get ready for the work week.
Oh, my God.
You know what? See,
You got 4 out of 7
horrible.
days to discuss it. So don't
Don't mess
his
with them
weekend.
3.
No, when I want to talk, look. We need to talk.
That's the problem right there. See, that is the issue.
That's
He was
just
like,
how-
no,
That's the
we
issue.
talking.
right.
If you're mature, if
That's
you're
what you-
mature about it, that means if you're not emotional about it, that means it can wait. If you're in an emotional state, you don't need to be talking about it no way, because it ain't gonna turn out right. So if something happens on Friday morning, just say okay. We'll
Just
deal with this
hold
Monday.
it until.
We'll deal with it Monday.
So just
If it's
be
just-
on fumes the whole weekend.
Now it's up
So
to you
your
to
weekend
it's up to you to
messed up.
figure out how to
It's
deal
okay
with it.
for your weekend to be messed up.
So you don't mess up his weekend.
Right.
But you control your own emotions. So why can't you just be okay with yourself? Why you got to make him miserable too?
Because we're a partner. We're a partnership.
So everybody gonna be
It's a
miserable.
unit. That's right.
All right, that's our petty section.
That was random and petty, and
So
that
this
is,
is-
I
this
give
is-
out valuable, very valuable information that
Yeah,
you ain't
people-
gonna find in no book.
Cause ain't nobody gonna say it.
Ladies, if you are
When-
listening, comment on this. This
You ain't gonna find it. I'm telling you,
advice.
when I write my random and petty book, it's gonna be a #1 bestseller.
Oh yeah,
We
I need
know.
in on that too. Cause I need to make some money. 'Cause
I'm
I know
already
that's
having
gonna
a
sell.
cover design. Telling you, it's going
I know that's
going
sell.
global.
Yeah.
It's gonna be called rap.
All right,
Random and
y'all.
petty.
We getting ready to get into our
By Daryl the
topic
G.
for the evening. And tonight, we want to again welcome Dr. Lucy for joining us. We appreciate you coming. And she was really excited to come. When I asked her, she was most definitely. So I appreciate that. We all appreciate that here. So, Africans and African Americans. You know, a lot of people, when I was researching this, so many people don't like to identify with the term African American. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get into the topic. But we see that there's so much division, and everybody has their own idea as to why it is, and, you know, like you hear different things and all of that. What is your interpretation? How long have you been here in America?
29 years.
Okay, and you're originally from
Kenya.
Kenya. Okay. So, when you were in Kenya, what were your thoughts about black folks in America?
Really, there wasn't much thought to it because most of what we saw was what we saw on TV.
Okay.
So,
Which was
well, we watched Roots, so that was not like the best depiction of Black America at the time. But the other part was most of the stuff that we saw. There was we used to watch Soul Train.
Okay.
So
Oh, I know you thought we were crazy if you watched Soul Train.
Well, the dressing was.
I used to watch Soul Train.
And so there wasn't that thought that you're different or we're different. So even when I was coming here to go to school. I didn't have any specific expectation that was out of the ordinary. Because in Kenya, we have people from all cultures that live in Kenya. So there was no that major distinction in terms of, okay, when I go to America, it's going to be different. It's just moving from one country to another country. Yeah.
So, did you know anybody? Because the stereotype is that Africans think that they're better than African Americans. You know, there's a lot of stereotypes
And
between
vice versa.
Africans and African Americans, and one of them was Africans thought they were better than African Americans. You ever knew anybody who thought that, or there wasn't?
Well, but you see how that comes to translation is who's giving you the message.
Right.
And so somebody else's perception doesn't make it a fact.
Right.
And so when people make those blanket opinions, they cause other people to think or believe that that is a fact, but that may not necessarily be the fact. And so what I think is we fail to mingle and understand each
Right.
other's cultures because even what is depicted about Africa or Kenya or any specific country in Africa, when it's portrayed in media,
Yep.
they don't show you the development and the
Right.
good things.
Right.
They tend to only show you what is unfavorable.
Right.
So you as an African American here who's only receiving, who has not intermingled with actual Africans from the continent, and so all you see is what is portrayed on the media. What is the likelihood that you will be eager to go to this
Right.
country that all they show is no running water,
Right.
no proper drainage,
Right.
there's no development? How would you feel that you would go there and apply yourself?
Right.
Right.
But yet, countries like China are going to these same African countries that are portrayed as
Yeah.
unfavorable and
They
making wealth out of
They
it.
sure are. I just heard that on the news the other day.
Yeah.
I did
so the best way, I think, is that what we are doing right now, having a conversation, me attending functions that are hosted by African Americans so I can see what African Americans actually do, and vice versa, you guys
Right.
attend functions that Africans host, and you get to mingle and learn different cultures, because with all the African countries, all of us, all three of you, have such great potential that you can take from here and go there,
Really?
and create wealth and
Wow.
improve people's lives, as opposed to just living on this thought process that Africa is just full of poor people.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily true.
Right. I used to work with an African guy, and when he came, I don't know where he was, what part of Africa, but when he came, he thought that African Americans were all lazy. But we worked in a plant, and he saw 90% black people working.
Putting
It
in the
kind
work.
of, yeah, it kind of like, he was like, man, I thought they say all African Americans are lazy, but look at all the people working. I'm like, yeah, we got to work.
You know what? I think a couple of years ago, it was a student. He was from Kenya. He was in the 9th grade at the time, but he told me that his parents told him to date white girls because of, I guess, because of the personality of black
Your parents
girls.
crazy if you
Like
told
we're perceived to be kind of loud, and we don't.
Unruly. And
Yeah, we don't carry ourselves, like a certain way. And so his parents, were like they were pushing him to date white girls. And I had a conversation with him, not to kind of go against his parents, but I just wanted him to think about it like, look at the black girls in your classroom. I know you have like different types of black girls. Does she seem to be loud and boisterous, and like, look at her over there. Now what about this girl? So I just kind of
giving him some, opening his eyes.
right, like I wanted to plant a seed, but not necessarily step on his parents' toes. Because you never
would've
want to
stepped-
go against the parents.
I would have stepped all over them parents' toes. I would have said, bro, you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
Messing with them.
If that's your only, I'm just saying, you rather be caught with a loud black woman than a
real.
white woman in America, in some parts of America.
But
You get caught on the wrong dirt road, you're African with a white woman, you're in trouble.
You in trouble.
see,
That's just the way it is.
But-
That's how it is.
as a parent myself, I wouldn't want anybody to say, "Oh, your mother is wrong. She's wrong, wrong, wrong." But try to provide, like another perspective, so
Yeah.
to speak, because I don't know.
I would have pulled up some videos for him. Here you go. Just look at these videos. That ain't something
And
you.
they're probably watching videos of girls, music videos. Like you said, you used to watch Soul Train, but now in this generation, or when I was growing up, we was watching BET. And so you know what kind of videos,
Oh, yeah.
were on during that time.
Well, they took them
Or
off.
106 in Park and all of that, portraying, black women a certain way. And I'm sure people in other countries watched BET, 106 in Park, and probably got an idea of this is what black women do. They gyrate and dress like this and have no self-respect. You know what I mean?
Because that's
It-
the image.
Yeah.
This may be a stereotype, but I think I've witnessed it a little bit, that Africans are more willing to put their resources together to do things, have like
Community based and working
and
together.
financial
And building wealth
groups.
together.
Yeah, and a lot of black people ain't gonna do that. It's always gonna be a problem of who's holding the money. and,
Exactly.
man, can I get my money out? But because when I worked at Zuri, I used to see a lot of they used to have meetings, like these Nigerian guys used to come in and have business meetings, and they used to throw big
I
parties.
remember, yeah, y'all used to have
and
that
the
in the
kids would be there,
ballroom.
but most black folks, if we throw a party at night, ain't no kids coming. But you see the African parties, all the kids, so everybody's involved, so they see
Dressed,
that,
Yeah.
and that's just
That
something
unity.
that keeps going. Yeah. So I'm like, man, it's kids running around at 3:45 in the morning. Like, what is going on?
Do you find that, just based on you being here for almost 30 years now, do you see more division amongst black folks here than,
Well, I go home at least every 2 every 2 years. And yes, there is a difference in how we live. And like you said, the I have not seen groups of African Americans that are pulling their resources together to do big things.
Right.
And like we talked before, you will find that very common with the Chinese community, with the Indian community, with the African community. And specifically, I can talk about Kenya because women have their own groups that they form, and they do. They call some call it merry-go-round. So the four of us every week we remove $100 and we give it to Lotus this week. Then the following week we give to you, then like that. So every other week. So that is a way of helping you grow personally.
Wow.
But we also have those communal activities where we pool resources and buy property together.
Yep.
And like you said, the trust factor is something that we have to overcome in order to move forward.
Right.
And so many of us don't have a specific person holding the money, that they are the only one who controls the money. So what we do is that we have 3 or 4 people who sign off on any money that is leaving the account.
Right.
The money is
So there's an accountability system.
Yes. And the members of the group get a statement of the account, so you know exactly what's going on in the account. Does that mean that there's usually no theft at some point? Just like in any other society, even in the
Right. You got groups.
Caucasian communities, that there could be theft, but it's not prevalent. I wouldn't say it's like a rampant problem that
Right.
we have. So I would hope that African Americans and Africans could unite together, especially those who live here, to do great things that would elevate us economically,
Right.
as a block of people. Because whenever if you look at their job applications, there is no section that says Africans. It's African Americans. So
Right.
even me, who's from Africa, I
Yeah.
belong in that same category.
Right.
Unless I choose to pick other.
Right.
So as
I didn't
a
never think
block-
about that.
Me either.
Yeah. So as a block,
They group us
they
all
group
together
all
anyway.
of us together, regardless
I
of
didn't
whether
think
you're
about
from
that.
Africa
Neither
or
did
you're
I.
from- you're
Neither
all in
did
the
I.
same big pot.
And African is a continent.
Because it
And that
says
should-
black/African Americans.
Right.
There is no one that says Africans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Wow.
have
You
Mexicans.
got Asian. They don't have
Yes.
Mexican.
No, but they
Asian.
have.
People from
They don't have
Hispanic.
Mexican. Oh,
You'll probably say
Hispanic.
Hispanic.
Yeah.
And then there's that little box that says
Other.
I check other sometimes.
One.
Why did you say you check other? Just so they would know.
I just
Just
don't like the whole
because,
census,
right.
and I'm just trying to be rebellious.
We ain't talking about census.
No,
Just
I know,
an
but I'm
app.
saying that's why I do it, because I don't like the whole census thing, and I'm trying to be rebellious. Like, I don't want them saying, "Oh, she black." Nah, I'm other. Figure it out. Yeah.
From my name.
Now
Right.
I could argue that because any point can be argued, but I won't.
Okay. Good.
Now, what you gonna argue? I want to know.
I would say, well, you got a problem checking black on your,
No, I don't have a problem.
no, that's my argument. What's wrong with checking black? You rather check other? You ain't proud of being black? That would be my argument if I had one.
Okay.
I thought he was gonna say something slick like.
Me too.
That's
Not my
slick.
name.
No,
Like,
I thought he was gonna say something like, "Cause you can't get the music, so he checking in your black card."
oh, okay.
That's a shot.
One time I marked white.
I wasn't really
That is a
trying to
shot.
take a shot though.
So, with the name changes, how has that affected you? You know, you as an
As far as
at one point it
Negro,
was them black, then
Yeah,
now
African-
American.
It hasn't. It hasn't. Well, I'm not speaking for the mass of black people, but I don't think it affects us either way, because we still know what they're talking about. You know, we know that they're trying to identify us as a people. I think that they're trying to use words that are sensitive.
well, I don't think. See, you're assuming that it was them who did it. I think it's us who change our names. I don't think I don't think white people change our name.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they're trying to be sensitive to what we like to be called.
Because there was a push among black people in America who said, we're proud to be African, so we want to be African Americans. With me, I'm cool with black. That does it for me. I don't want to change. But if I got to be in a category, it's going to be African American. If the category is African American, Asian, European,
And other.
I'm African American.
So you telling me that? Okay, so people.
Black works for me.
But
Yeah.
out of all the things that black people need to fight for, we're fighting because we don't want to be called Negro or black or African American. Like, you see what I'm saying? And
I
we
get it.
actually got, they actually listen and say, okay, well, we're just going to call them black/African American just to appease them. But what about all the, that's my argument. Like, what
A
about
lot of
all the other stuff?
a lot of black people don't want to be called black, and a lot of black people don't want to associate with African American, which doesn't make sense.
So when I was researching for this, I was watching. Let me get it right. It's this show called Grapevine. Y'all should watch it. It's on YouTube. It's so slick to me. It's kind of what I want to see teen scene do, but it's like these they're 20-something-year-olds, but they did this topic talking about Africans and African Americans, and they had about 8 people in the room, and it was probably a even split, male and female, Africans and African Americans. And it was really something to me when I was just listening to to me, their children, talk about like their experiences and why there's so much division. And one thing really stood out to me, this one guy he was an African, and he said he don't like black people. And so they got into the dialogue as to why. And he said, because white folks didn't tease me when I was little, based on my accent, the way that I look. They didn't make fun of me and call me names. Black kids did that. So he really wanted.
Where did he grow? He grew up around blacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just didn't know probably that if he had grown up around whites,
They would do the same
It might have
thing.
been worse. But I know he didn't have nothing to
compare it to.
Yeah.
But then there was another girl who was on there, like, most of the Africans had that same mindset, though. But there were a couple of them that were still trying to bridge the gap. But that one guy, he stood strong, like, I don't want nothing to do with black folks. So did you have experiences like trying to fit in when you first came and feeling like you really weren't accepted, or what was the situation for you?
I think that's a trick question, but I'll take it. When I came to the U.S., I came to a very small rural town in Pennsylvania called
Okay.
Slippery Rock. It's predominantly, see your facial expression.
I'm just thinking the name, Slippery Rock.
Slippery Rock. And it was a predominantly white college, and obviously the community around it was very white.
Yeah.
I think to me that was the first time I really realized how black I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my English teacher, because he couldn't pronounce my last name, thought I didn't understand English.
Because he couldn't pronounce your name.
Correct. And so every time he gave an example of when he's teaching in class, and he would point like this girl from Africa who doesn't speak English.
Wow.
But because we grew up, we didn't challenge professors.
Right.
We didn't, and I sat like the very first row in the class. And this is an auditorium sitting with like a whole bunch of other students. But he gave my reference to me often until he gave us the first exam. And I got 100%. And so he would read the names of the students and say what they got as a grade. So I think he kept on wondering, I'm reading, I haven't gotten to her name yet. How
Right.
come?
Yeah.
And he starts from the lowest
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the highest. And so,
He didn't expect you to
Yeah.
deliver.
And so when he got to my paper, he knew, because I was the only one who had not received my paper. He walked to me and he said, all this time you've understood English and you didn't say anything. So you never asked me.
You never gave me
Why
an
would he
opportunity.
assume that she
Wow.
couldn't speak English
Right.
in
Yes.
college?
Right. So how were you supposed to be able to function in college if you
Without
couldn't
you can
speak the
speak
I
language?
was supposed to go to attend English as a second language.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he could have taken the initiative to talk to me,
To
ask
get to
me,
know you.
ask
At
me
least
how
give
much-
you a
how-
chance.
If I'm a
That's right.
professor, if I'm a professor teaching anything, I'm assuming when I come there, all y'all know how to speak English. We ain't even got to talk about
Right,
that.
right.
I wouldn't be thinking the opposite.
Right.
I'm thinking
That's
it may
straight
not sound like
stereotype, though.
Yeah.
It is, and he probably felt really bad when he realized that
Yes,
you
he
knew
did.
how to speak English while he was making those references
Yes.
towards you. So,
And so
wow.
after that, we became very good friends. You know, any students, whoever came to his class that needed extra help.
Now
like
you
that,
want- yeah.
He would tell them, "Oh, I have this great student who came here from Kenya. She is very good in English. You can connect with them." And she
so.
can
Only
tutor
he
them."
would send African students to you only, or
only African students.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that to me was the first time that I really felt that I was different. And so even when they invite people to join sororities and all that, nobody invited me to join any of them.
oh, you didn't want to. Probably didn't want to do all that.
Now, imagine growing up in a society where you feel like that every day. Like from birth.
Yeah.
You just feel like that. You know?
I'm gonna say, when I was growing up, when I was younger, in our neighborhood, because it was the hood. It was always, and I don't know where we got this from, but it was always we were better than Africans and Jamaicans. It was always those Jamaicans, those Africans. So, when I was growing up, we were looking at, you look at cartoons, all of the images of Africans in the jungle swinging from trees, bone in the.
That's all you were exposed
That's
to.
all we saw. So when somebody said Africans, we just assumed that, they
They're
were a certain way.
uneducated
And then as I got older, the more and more you see how blacks are treated in America, I was like, we really, we really on the same page.
Right.
So I got to erase this mindset that we're different and you're not supposed to talk. Because we have a lot of Africans that come in the club all the time.
Yeah.
And to me, my mind now is like, bro, we in this together.
Right.
It's like
We all
need
the
each
same,
other
yeah.
because they ain't caring if this one is from Africa and this one is from
Detroit.
Harlem or Dallas.
Right.
When it's going down, it's like you
You
all
black.
black.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the mindset that I have now.
Wow.
But like you see, they lump us all in one category.
Anyway,
Yes, even when they employ us, they make sure that we are all in the same category. They don't divide us. So it is up to us, all of us, to find ways that we can work together, bridge whatever gaps exist, and make a push to make sure that our kids and our grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, when they grow up, they will not have those experiences of
Right.
thinking that Africa is full of uneducated people, which is not true.
Right.
I got a question for everybody.
Okay.
I'll start with Doc.
Okay.
Doc, knowing what you know now, would you say that it was better for you to be born in Africa and then come to America later, or do you think it would have been better for you to be born in America and with the American customs?
I would not change where I was born.
Gotcha.
Truly, because, and here's why I say that. When you grow up born in a specific region, there are cultures and there is an identity that is associated with that. Even you being born here, you still feel like you're still alienated to some of the things that you actually are entitled to. You
Right.
You have to work harder. You have to struggle harder. You could be the one who is the most qualified candidate in a job applicant, but because of your pigmentation,
Right.
it is offered to somebody else who is of a different you know,
Yeah.
Asian or somebody else who doesn't have the same qualification. Being born in Kenya gives me the identity of saying I have a place I can say I am going home.
Right.
So if I don't like being here and I'm tired, I can say I'm going home.
Right.
When you're born here and this is your home,
Where you going?
can't leave it and just say you're going home. Going home where?
Right.
So I wouldn't change where I was born.
So
Kenya is beautiful, and I invite you guys to come and visit Kenya and see the beautifulness of that country.
Solar.
Yes.
Same question.
If I could change where I grew up, I would definitely want to grow up in some country in Africa, because I think as a child growing up in America, you really, really have to, like, if you don't have parents that really, like, put in your face constantly that you are great, that you're beautiful, that you can achieve anything, you know, it's like a lot of parents have to constantly feed their children and build their children up every single day.
Right.
So to live in a place where everything is focused or designed for white people, and you have to create things for, you know, non-white people,
Right.
that is depressing, you know. And then me as a parent, like, I constantly have to make sure that my children understand that your hair is beautiful, that your skin is beautiful, that you are smart, that, you know, and I don't know, it's almost saddening, you know, that you have to fight this fight every day. So if I had to choose, I would want to be in a country where everybody look like me and we're all on the same playing field, and that we're all being, you know, lifted up together. You know, like, I wouldn't want to experience not where I don't belong. You know, like you said, like, if I wanted to go home, like, a lot of black people don't necessarily feel like America is their home. Like, we're kind of displaced. We don't have a home. We don't belong in Africa. We don't belong in America. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we're kind of just lost. You know, we can't connect to anything. So.
Lotus.
I totally agree with everything she just said. Everything. I just, I feel like we are at a disadvantage, and we can never catch up here, ever. It's never going to be a fair playing ground. We will never be looked at as equal. We will never be treated equally. We always have to raise our children to be in fear of certain things just to keep them alive. I would definitely, if I could keep the same mama, daddy, brothers, sisters, and my children, I'd be in Africa.
So you would have rather been born.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
My thoughts are the same, and
And if I could pack up and leave, I would go.
yeah, my thoughts are the same, because if you just think about it, it's exactly what she's saying. When we talked about that, what was that case we talked about last week? Dred Scott,
Dred Scott.
where the federal judge said you can't sue or something for.
You're not even.
But he the way he put it was as honest as you can be. You know, the judge said the Constitution and all that wasn't written for you. You know, you can't sue.
This don't apply to you.
This doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
All of and that, and
Right.
if
You
you
have no
think
rights.
about it, it's still that way. It's like, but when you don't conform, as you know, none of this was created for us. But if you don't stand for this anthem,
Yes.
you're in trouble because you didn't stand for this anthem. But you said
It
none of
doesn't
this-
apply.
Yeah, it doesn't apply. So
And even words
it was never
in it-
written with us in mind.
Right. And some of it is even attacking to us. And you still want us to honor that? Like,
It's not even a double-edged sword. It is a triple-edged sword, because you just, no matter what, you can't win. You can't fight, because if you stand up to it, then you're un-American, and you don't really have the power to fight certain things. You can only fight so far. So it's just like being in a strange land. And the older I get, the more I get like less excited about being in America, because I know
I could so be out of this piece.
because I know most of the things that we're not going to be privy to because we're black. It's just so much we don't know. You know, the laws were written, you know, by whites. So think about it. It's people who actually
It's good.
wrote these laws and said you weren't included when we set this whole thing up. So how are we supposed to ever feel patriotic?
One
you
of
know?
our listeners, Jan Nayaka. That's one of your. Okay, she said we should all be proud of where we're born. And is she African?
Yes.
She has to be,
That's why she said that.
because we can't
I don't
be.
even think, and I think that's one of the biggest disconnects, like with the African versus the African American, is we really just don't have anything to identify with. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when we wear African garb, that's like a thirst for us to
Connect. belong. Yeah.
We did this big party this summer at Brick House. It was so beautiful, where we asked everybody to wear African garb. It was so beautiful. But it was just this thirst of, we really just want to know, and we don't, and so sometimes it can appear like we're trying to imitate or like it's trendy. And some people it is just trendy. But some people really, really, really want to know their roots, their culture, their history. And so, like she says, you should be proud of where you... I'm not proud of America. For what? Honestly, for what? Proud to be an American for what? America ain't proud of me.
Well, but you see, America affords, like, for me, I can say that America, somebody who has come here, affords us a lot of opportunities, whether it is education, being able to support your family back home, regardless of whatever kind of job you manage to get. And so this country offers a lot of opportunities. And for anybody who's desiring to go and find their roots, I would say, pick a country, go and visit. It is not that expensive. Like to go to Kenya during low season, you pay $700 return trip. You will go and see the country and see whether there is a connection for you that you feel in that country. And you'll get to experience so many people who look like you. They're the ones who are doing business, most of them. They're the ones who are calling the shots. They're the ones who are in the offices.
And those are our African Americans that have moved over?
No, Kenyans.
Kenyans.
Okay.
We have like a lot of Americans who move, who
Yeah,
come
that's
and
what
just
yeah,
pack
that's
their
what I mean.
things and they just go to live in Kenya
Yeah.
or go to another country, and they make a life there. It can't be that bad. And like there's this lady who moved to Kenya not too long ago, her and her daughter, and they started baking cakes. That is what they do for a business. And in the town they moved to, there was no bakery. Guess what?
She's making money.
She's making money. She's living comfortably. The cost of living is low. She can afford to have somebody to clean her house, somebody to do her laundry, somebody to wash her car.
Oh, wow.
So tell us about the differences. A nice 4-bedroom house that you would see here, how much would that be in Kenya? In a nice area?
It depends on the area. Some of the areas are pretty expensive. They are even more expensive than what we have here in Highland Park. So it depends on where you want to live. If you have, you can buy a small piece of land and build a house for $30,000 total. So you buy your land and you build the house.
For you buy the land
The
and
land
build the
and-
house for 30,000.
Yeah. 30,000, 40,000, depending on where you want
Yeah.
to live. And I mean, that will be your small house. You will have paid it off, so you're not under the burden of having a mortgage,
Yeah.
paying anybody except your utilities. You can dig your own water well, so you have your own constant supply of water there.
I got a question. In Kenya, I mean, I know, were you ever denied education or the right to get education? See, I think that's part of the disconnect between when Africans come over for an education versus a lot of African Americans. Think about how many generations were denied education. So that leads to generations of ignorance. You know, not saying you're not intelligent,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but generations of ignorance. Like this race of people, it's been 10 generations of we denied education, we denied education. So now,
You talk about Americans.
yeah, Americans. Now when you look at America now, a lot of our people are uneducated because that's been the cycle. And the ones who are educated, we are the exception. You know, we are the ones who made it in spite of.
Yes.
But when Africans come over and it's like, hey, I want to go to America, you can get an education. But for a lot of our people, that ain't that's not.
It was never encouraged.
That's not
to
our
begin
mindset
with.
for it's
Yeah.
not the education. It's how do I look?
Yeah.
I need to do
It's
this.
the
I need to get a
upbringing. The
job.
programming.
So it's a lot different, and I think that's why for me, I wish I mean, I don't want to change who I am, but I think if I had been born in Africa, and
You have
that
more
would
of
have been like,
appreciation.
because it seems like Africans, maybe a stereotype, Africans appreciate education more than African Americans.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us don't take advantage, or maybe just can't afford, but we don't take advantage of
All the
what's out there
opportunities.
because it's just not a part of a lot of our normal upbringing and lifestyle.
It's almost like because America is supposed it's supposed to be like this great land where you can go and achieve anything, all of your dreams and stuff like that. And because we live here, we don't see America the way that you guys see it, or the way that any person that comes from another country see America. So a lot, it's kind of like we look at the American dream simply as a dream. It's kind of like, yeah, you can kind of achieve that, but you got to have these factors in place. You probably got to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Or you can go through all of that and it still don't do nothing for you.
Or
Right.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different factors
Right.
that may be in place for you to
Because
get to where you
most Americans still see you as a dumb NIGGA,
Right.
And
And so-
and most of them control the courts,
Right.
law enforcement,
Right.
I think the hidden racism in America is way deeper than the country bumpkins walking around saying kill Jews,
Yeah,
kill blacks.
the systemic racism.
Man, that is, people don't understand that they
Yeah.
control like every
aspect
you
of
trying
life.
to start a business, you got to go here. Ain't none of us in here, approving these applications.
Yeah.
You go over here. We ain't over
But
here either. So
here's the thing, though: if Africans and African Americans are all in this pot together, how is it that Africans are able to come and thrive? You know what I'm saying? And just do well.
I think it's because of what I said.
I think they're more accepted.
I think it's more of a focus on education.
I don't,
versus-
because there are a lot of
I do.
educated African Americans
A lot of,
that
but
still don't make it.
look at the percentages. I'm just saying. No, I mean you actually kind of proving my point. But
Oh.
look
okay,
at
I'm trying to figure out this point.
the percentages of. It's like America views Africans coming over a little different than us.
They're more welcoming to Africans coming
Yes,
over.
yes.
What were you gonna say, Dr. Lucy?
It goes back to your point that it depends on your upbringing, what is emphasized more. Because in Kenya,
Huh?
there was also a time when education was very limited for the, like my mom's generations and the generations past her, for women to go to school. But those parents who have seen the value of education, they emphasize, get a good education, you get a good job. And so by the time I was coming to the US, Kenya only had 3 universities. And 400,000 of us sit for this one exam to try and get into the 20,000 slots for the whole entire country to go to college.
Oh wow!
So the only option for most of us was to find education in other countries. And that is how I ended up coming.
For me, you would see, and the difference could be a stereotype. Maybe I'm wrong. When you see Africans, when it comes to education, like kids are excited to get reading materials. Excited to get things they can write with, excited to get things they can learn with. In America, it's it's a little different. It's like the kids don't want.
So
we
you
got
feel like we take stuff for granted.
I feel
and don't
like
take advantage
our
of.
programming is
So severe.
is wired a little bit twisted when it comes to. We don't make it a point for our kids to get educated. For us, it's more about, I got to make sure you got the right shoes on. I got to make sure it's more about the labels. It's more about how you look and what people think, instead of, don't worry about that. This is how you're going to survive. You got to get educated on something. And I think a lot of African Americans have lost that. Some do, but I think for the most part we've lost it. We don't have kids that are excited to get books.
Well,
we have some. I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying. As a as a culture.
We're gonna take a break. All right, so guys, hang tight for just a moment. We're gonna take a quick break. Are we gonna play a song? We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you.
All right.
It's power in names.
All right, everybody, we are back, ready to talk about, what are we talking about? Africans and African Americans. Like, what is the discord? What is the we're trying to close the gap. If you see, sitting here to my left, we have another guest that just joined us. He is from Jamaica. Everybody welcome Noelle McKenzie.
She has such a beautiful radio voice.
Thank you.
Doesn't
Thank
she?
you. Thank you. Okay, so I want to pick back up on a conversation where Dr. Lucy, she said that they only had like a couple of universities, right? And so the only thing for you guys to do was to look outside of the country, you know, for other universities to go to. And when you said that, I was thinking like, man, that's not even we don't even consider like Black Americans, or at least the ones that I know, and I know a lot. We don't usually consider we consider going outside the state, but we don't necessarily consider going outside of the country. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in a place where you're not really familiar with, you can't really get off track. You can't really, you know what I mean? You can't do nothing but make 100s. You know, that's all you could do. So, Mr. McKenzie,
yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, did you go to school in America or anything like that?
I was born in Jamaica, and like every country that's tied to the Commonwealth, which was like Kenya, we were forced, just like Lucy said, Dr. Lucy said, is that we were forced to find education elsewhere. So I myself ended up in Canada
Mm-hmm.
to to study engineering because that was my passion.
Okay. Okay. So he ended up in Canada.
Yes.
So from what I know in history, I know a lot of black people fled to Canada, right?
Yes, Canada is actually a more welcoming country
Yep.
than
Yep.
the United States. And you know, United States has its history of slavery.
Mhm.
It has its history of segregation.
Mhm.
I mean, it has its history of laws that, as you all pointed out before, that restrict African Americans. So, yeah, going to Canada was my first choice because it offers that the ability to learn without the risk.
Okay. So you didn't feel
Prejudice,
like
no.
yes, because Dr. Lucy, you said when you went to what was it, Slippery
Slippery Rock.
Rock.
Yes.
That
That's been a giveaway.
I know.
Dead
You said that was
giveaway.
the first time you ever like
never
actually
heard of
felt
that.
black. So you didn't feel that in Canada.
I didn't feel that at all in Canada. Canada was welcome. They wanted me to become citizen as soon as I land, so that's what I worked for.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a different country than here.
Okay.
I wish it wasn't that cold, but
Give it a few years.
What, global warming?
You know where it's gonna
Yeah.
be cold, too cold.
yeah.
The polar
So-
bears are looking.
So my question is, what? Because I know we only have about a half an hour left. Where do we go from here? Like when we see so much division amongst black people just around the world, specifically here in America. I don't have anything else to go on except here, and you see that it appears. Tell me what y'all think. It appears like we're going backwards instead of making progress. You know, like we're not coming together. There's more division. There's more animosity. The violence is increasing. What do you all see as a solution in bridging the gap and bringing Africans and African Americans together to start healing? Because there is power in numbers, and we're all black. So
I'm curious about where's your evidence that, or what makes you say that we're
going backwards.
Yeah. I think the relationship between African Americans and Africans I think that relationship is getting better. Now, us, I mean, I think we're slowly coming together, but not enough. But I don't think I think it's a lot better now that we understand America, that we're more accepting of Africans, and Africans should be, after they've been here a while, more accepting of us, seeing that what we all could possibly or have gone through when it comes to America. That's my opinion. Why do you say what you say?
I think it could be a lot of my background and the way that
Right.
I was raised. I was raised seeing more unity than what I see now.
Oh, okay.
But that could just be demographic too. It could be just the way my family was raised. You know, because we did a lot of group economic type of things. You know, like as a unit. You know, my mother and my father, both families were full of entrepreneurs, but they all supported each other, and I don't see that anymore. I don't see unity amongst black folks like that. I just
Right.
don't. But like I said, it could be demographic though, because I'm not from Texas, and that's where I'm experiencing
But do you see
this.
do you see it amongst Africans versus African Americans?
I think that there are pockets of people who have a strong desire to know. But outside of those small pockets of people, I don't. I don't think African Americans on a whole really try to connect with their identity the way that they should. Like I think we should have been had this conversation. I stand even us, the Black and the Berry. There's no way in the world after 2 years we're just now having the conversation of Africans and African Americans. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like And if this is who we are,
But you shouldn't beat yourself up because we've had many shows talking about African culture.
we
and
definitely
education.
embrace the culture.
So you can't just, you
I know.
got to give yourself more credit than
Well, and also as a show, we haven't had this particular conversation until today. But in our own personal groups and circles, we have had that conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, don't beat yourself up.
I know, but I'm just saying, that we just have to do better at having a thirst for our own, because I personally think that is the biggest problem with black folks. The biggest problem is we don't identify. We don't, because we were robbed of that, So if you don't have anything to look back on, we were robbed of our spirituality, our communication tools, all of our culture, all of our history. If we don't know it, we're left with other people telling us our story. So we buy into what those individuals tell us instead of us being proactive enough to make sure that we dig to get the real truth. Because to be honest, there are enough black folks in America that if we really, really, really got on it, we would have to hold the schools accountable for telling our true story. But we don't do that.
You're right, and that somebody posted. I can't really find a post, but they said something about what about our teachers? Like, remember when something about, I guess they used to teach, but they don't really enjoy the profession or something to that effect. But they were asking about our teachers. And so I wanted to say that, teachers are human too. Like, you have teachers okay, so let's just say this. You have Caucasian teachers. They really can't see the divide or the disconnect, right? Because they don't have that experience. And we know this because if you see white people saying stuff like, well, you got your freedom. You, like, what more do you want? Like, I've heard.
Yeah, you had a black president.
Right, like,
right.
But they don't see what our gripe is about. You know what I mean? Like, they can't understand, so they're not going to necessarily understand our children. Mm-hmm. And then those black teachers, black people that are in the profession, there's so many politics to just teaching. It's almost like, you're going to get reprimanded if you do this, or if you say this, or if somebody's parent complained about teaching them about that black stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you have all of these blockers that are up, So my advice, everybody is a teacher, that they say the black woman or the woman is the baby's first teacher. So the teaching starts at home. You see what I'm saying? So we can't really expect.
But you can't expect people to teach if they don't know.
Exactly, and that's another thing. It's either teachers don't know, they don't understand, or they don't care, or they just want to go by what the curriculum says and just do their job.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say I agree with you in your analogy. Knowing culture doesn't mean you know the people, or you can mix. And you can have standoff of cultures, like. We are in the same room, but we're not really talking.
Right.
And so what is happening with African American is that they're in the same room, the same country, experiencing the same crap, but nobody is really talking, or even trying to. There's 15%. America, if you do the black in this country, it's 15%.
15%
of
population
is black.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's a strong economical background. Mm-hmm. But nobody's talking money. Even to blame the teacher is wrong, because it has to start from the source. And the source is
the home.
People, us. So if you're saying that you're not talking to each other, like, oh, you ever ask yourself, how comes an African from Africa or a guy like me come to America and get an education and striving forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did ask that question.
The thing is that, you were struggling in slavery. Yeah, you got out. You're still behind the 8 ball because of course, you have no financial backings.
Mm-hmm.
The educated Americans in here that's got financial backings, they move to the white cities. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not participating in their culture,
Right.
in any cultural
Right.
at all. Me and Lucy has this conversation where the how much generation you're far from slavery. It's a lot,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and those are dollars. Every generation lost many dollars. It takes you twice as long to save to buy a house or even a car.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
so unless the people who made it come back or participate in helping the ones that's
Right.
there, or it's a mindset.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you don't change the mindset, like when we come, our mindset is to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the salmon swimming upstream. We don't care which fresh water or if we're on the road, we're making it to that education.
Right.
But who's teaching the new African Americans?
Right. That was part of my point. It's like it's not our focus has gotten so
Yeah.
to the this is the line. Our focus should be here.
And
Our
we
focus
way
is
over
here.
there.
Yeah, we way on
Yeah.
the wrong side.
That's because we bought into
and
the
people
program.
people are afraid to start addressing, the things that are killing us. It's this materialism.
Yes.
We
That's the
spend all of our
programming.
money on. I challenged a lady who was spent a lot of money on her hair and was talking about how much money she spent on her hair. I was like, okay, I want to challenge you to every time you spend $1 on your hair, put $1 in a savings account for your daughter, or do that and then see what happens. Are you gonna? It's gonna be hair versus her education
Yeah.
or savings. So
Wow.
that's a
Priorities.
challenge I'm gonna do, like for
Yeah.
Ooh,
men
wee.
and women. I'm gonna throw that out there. For every dollar you spend on your hair, spend it on your child or a savings account or college fund.
Go ahead.
And Miss Lotus, you made a very good point with regards to culture. But remember, you are doing a great job already because you're already bringing this conversation to the table. Anything that you're not talking about, you're not going to fix it.
Right.
It's going to be swept under the rug.
Right.
Another generation will come by and will ask, how come this has never been talked about? So you are already making progress by bringing this to the table. So commit yourselves, the three of you and your friends, to now engage in finding out about African restaurants so you know the food. So if you were to go to Kenya, you would know what kind of food they serve.
Right.
Because food is important. I mean, if you're going to be somewhere for 2 weeks, you,
Right.
You need to
know-
be able
Right,
to-
right. You want to eat.
Yeah.
You want to know what to eat. And invite us to your events. Don't just make them specifically just for African
Right.
Americans.
Right.
Invite us to be part of that those events so that we can also learn what your culture is about. That parent who was telling her child that date only white girls because African Americans are this, that, and the other. If you ask these parents whether they even have one African American friend, they would tell you they don't. More than likely they don't. And so they are basing their judgment on what an African American typical family would be on what they see on TV,
Right.
what is spread out on media. So we have to be the people who are branding ourselves. What do we bring to the table?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we are
Right.
Africans, whether we are African Americans, we have to brand ourselves
Mhm.
and not allow other people who have not lived in our shoes to brand us.
That's right.
Because they're never going to see us from our good side.
Right.
They
That's
will
right.
always see us from our negative side.
Well, they're going to buy into what they're being told and taught about us, and the teacher is the media.
Yes.
And so whatever that teacher is, that TV is teaching us, that is what we're learning. That is what we take in. That is what we digest. That is what we think is the truth. Because there's so many people who really believed that.
I give the media a lot of credit, but I think parenting is major.
It is. But who teaching the parents?
Now that's the problem. I can't.
Right.
Now I can't
Who
address
teaching the
that
parents?
because I mean
The
it's,
media.
But that's why a lot, I mean, at least a lot of people that I know, a lot of parents don't let their children watch television, you know, or in ourselves, we don't watch a lot of television. And I think just the circles that we're in, I think we look at television strictly for what it is. It's just entertainment, you know, and we don't take it any further than that. We don't take it as real, you know, any real like substance to it or anything like that. But I just know that a lot of the people that I know, we don't allow our children to watch television because we don't want the television to distort or teach them things that we don't want them to know.
You cannot rely on the television to.
But so many people do and are afraid to address. I mean, it's too many parents who aren't fulfilling the role as parent, which means. Not talking about the ones who just don't know, but if you're a parent, it's your job to control what your child sees at home, what they hear at home. That is the job of the parent. But now I'm gonna say this, and I hope it comes out right.
Oh goodness, that was the disclaimer, y'all.
It is a disclaimer because I'm about to step on some toes.
Oh God,
I'm about to really step on some toes.
I'm gonna end up cleaning up his mess.
I think a lot of people have started to treat their kids as porcelain. That's, oh, I love this porcelain. Look at this porcelain sitting on the shelf. Don't damage the porcelain. Don't play with the porcelain. It's porcelain. It may break. Instead of saying, this is clay. This is some clay. I need to mold this clay.
That's right.
I'm not really worried about how it looks right now. I'm trying to mold this clay. Your job is to mold that child. It ain't to just, you're supposed to love your child, but you gotta discipline. You gotta, teach him how to think. You know, my dad always told me, I didn't know how to think. I gotta teach you how to think. You gotta teach him how to think. You gotta give him responsibilities. You gotta prepare them to be black living in America, and that's education, discipline, respect authority, hard work. Most parents don't even, they're afraid to get their kids to do chores. Like, it might hurt his feelings. You know, he may not feel like doing this. That's where we have started to go wrong.
Let me come in
by letting the
from
children
work at leaving Brick House and come in. And you know, Brick House, I work at a club, so it's late. Sometime I get home at 2:30 and the dishes ain't done. Everybody getting up.
I mean, that's the way it should
don't care.
be.
Everybody getting up.
Too many people are just treating their children as porcelain. You can't really.
You setting them up for failure, though.
Man, that ain't what it's about. You got a job to do.
You setting them up.
You get kids.
You have to realize that too. That parents in our new society is very tired
From working. You saying?
Working, especially black
single
parents.
parent? Yeah, I get it.
Not just single, both parents. There's husband and wife that's working 2 jobs to keep just food. By the time they reach home, they don't even have the strength. They're just asking God to make the TV tell them the right stuff.
Right.
Wow.
and that's part of the vicious cycle, though.
Yeah.
Of trying to pay for the materialistic things that
the priorities is all messed up. The priorities are messed up.
But I think what Mr. McKenzie is saying is that just to even eat, you know, or pay the bills, or, you know, it may not even be them, you know, buying your children Jordans or whatever.
Just getting through.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just to get by, and then just think about single parent homes.
Well, you know what though, but in all honesty, that's a lot of people's reality.
Yes,
but it's still you still have. No, you ain't no single parent.
I mean, no, but I'm saying as far as like
single parents experience this.
As far as like being busy, you know,
all the time,
constantly.
But if people would, for example, a husband and a wife, if they would, and most people are not going to do this, if they would say, okay, you have a job, I have a job. We need to live within our means to where whatever job the husband has, we're going to live to where he has the only salary. We're going to live within the means that his salary can provide. Can provide. But most people don't do that.
When I roll past you with my Benz, do you still want to live in that dream
That's the wiring.
That's the thing.
Yep.
Our society is driven black people to live
Stuff.
past their
Yes.
their
Oh, beyond their means.
needs.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
mesmerized by material stuff.
Yes.
Okay,
But
so
we forget that if you look at the Caucasian culture, they save money. You know, there's a way that their children don't experience the same things our children
They
experience.
get the better jobs.
They get better jobs. Their cars are paid off right away, so
Yeah.
they're not having to worry about car note.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their great grandfather may have owned slaves, so they've got this wealth that has been built
Passed
up,
down.
and so they don't have to worry about looking for a job.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and so
And all those things make a big
and
difference. Yeah, they
make a
do.
difference. And
Just-
so for our kids, they are trying to also live the life that the white children and other children are living.
Yeah.
So by the time they finish college or finish high school, they are not thinking about saving.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the money that they are making for a salary, they're not investing it in shares or
Nope.
things that will make them money
Mhm.
while they're sleeping.
Right.
They're spending it and
Right.
spending way more.
Right.
Colleges, when you go to college, they give you credit cards almost right away.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
they'll bury you in debt.
So by the time you're finished with college, you already have so much debt. And if you're already taking a student loan, you're now twice as much.
Twice, yes.
So by the time you really start working,
You already
so
came. You were so
behind.
deep in the
Yeah.
hole.
Actually, there's another side to this too, is that most of the people who spend all that money to go through school as a black person does not get those jobs to support
Oh
them.
my
That this-
God, you're
That's
gonna
what
start
you-
me.
that's what
Please
you were
don't
saying.
Don't
Don't
start me.
But it's the truth though.
Yeah.
You're not getting that job. So how can you pay off your student loan while trying to a new family? That
Right.
doesn't work.
And you don't, yeah.
It
So-
doesn't.
So one of our listeners asked, we had a couple comments that I wanted to read. One was Dr. Rogers is really, really big on Saturday schools and the community running Saturday schools,
Oh,
and
that
that's
was
how we
him?
teach our children our culture, because they're not going to learn it in traditional schools. So that was a comment. Somebody else said, oh, do we share what we know about our real history with next generations? We need to tell them more about how great they are. One of the listeners asked if you could explain the difference of the parenting style in Africa versus here in America. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Claudia DeRoby.
Hey, Claudia.
All right. So, parenting in America is very lenient.
Yep.
There you go. Lenient.
Lenient to
That's what
a
you
fault.
said.
hmm
And then the African upbringing is strict to a fault.
Okay. So both are
Yeah,
imbalanced.
really.
Okay.
Many times we are on very big opposites. Here, a parent can put their child watching TV all day. In Africa, the child is outside playing. So
All day?
the kids here are because of the risk of abduction and other things that could happen to kids. Most of the kids here stay inside the home playing Nintendo. They are not as active as kids who are brought up in Africa. They are very active. They are running. They are doing kid stuff.
Uh-huh.
When I was growing up, I thought my parents were very strict. But do you know, I thank them every day for
Yeah,
all the
me
beatings
too.
they gave me.
Right.
Yeah. My parents were very strict too.
At that time I thought, these parents, if I could change them, they are very strict. They beat us. They tell us,
Yeah.
you have to get an education. You have to be good. You have to be this. And I thought that was. And then I would look at some of my friends who their parents were very, lenient in terms of they could go out, they could do. I thought that was my parents were too extreme.
Yeah.
But now that I have moved here, even when I was here, even as an adult now, I realized that what they did for me then was very good, because it has allowed me to be able to have a home, to build a
Yep.
career, to be very, strict on my, to have goals. This is what I want to achieve, and I want to achieve it by a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
But here, I see that there's a lot of leniency. You can study whatever you
If a
want.
kid doesn't
If you
feel
don't
like
wanna-
doing
you don't
something,
wanna-
he doesn't
if you
have to
don't
do
wanna
it.
do it. It's okay. You don't have to do it, which is not the same back in Kenya.
Yeah, I just want to add something else to what Lucy was saying. My experience in Africa is that, as you know, that old saying where they say it takes a village
To raise, yeah.
to raise a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody if they know Lucy is going to America to study, they all sell everything they own to make this happen.
Hmm.
Wow.
You see the difference?
Really?
Yes.
So the whole community
They
got
will
behind you
sell
coming here to
land,
school.
boat, anything to
Wow.
make it happen.
Wow.
See, that's where, that's where we miss it. It frustrates me. It frustrates me that we don't get
The
behind.
village. Yeah.
It's a true village
Experience.
It's an experience
Yes.
because.
Describe the village experience, because I just live in La La Land with the village experience. I really do. I say it all the time.
The village is in your-
the
in your
village,
mind.
The village.
What I see, Lucy will start, but what I see is a party to make this happen.
So,
Yeah.
Like many people who come to study in America.
Yes.
Not everybody is wealthy that they can afford, because when we come here, we pay our tuition is 3 times the amount an American person pays. So if your tuition is 7,000, we are paying 7,000 times 21,000.
Yeah.
That is the required fees for an international student. Okay, so some families cannot afford to be able to raise that 21,000 on their own. So you will find parents will sell everything they have
Wow.
to make it happen. And if they can't afford it, they will call the entire village to give whatever
And they do
can.
it.
And yes.
But how does that make you feel, though?
What it makes you feel is when you land here, a sense of responsibility to those people.
Yes.
Because the degree you're going to get is not yours. It is for them. To
For
have
the
the pride
village.
and say, we sent Lotus to America, and she went there and she went and got a degree. Do you know how they celebrate you when you get there? Like you are the king and queen when
Right.
you get
Wow.
there, because you have done them proud.
Hmm.
And so, for every person who has come and has been able to attain a degree, you allow parents to become comfortable, other parents to even believe that their child has a possibility
Yes.
of coming, and 2 of them becoming somebody who will be contributing back when they go. When you get an education, you don't forget back home. So here, what we see in America is that it's very individualistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lotus family pays for all the tuition. Whereas it could have been made so simple if all of us as the village
Got together and
got
did it.
together and educated your child with no debt.
Yes. See, and I
Because
know
some of
it can happen. I know, and that's the thing that gets me when it comes to our people is that, and it's not just the African culture. All
Yes.
cultures do that, but Black folks.
In America.
Yes.
Yes.
The thing is, that is why you're always behind in terms of
Economic development and-
because you're already behind in terms of debt.
Yes.
When I finished college, I did not owe anybody any money.
Wow.
So
You don't even want to know how much I owe for my education.
And that is the story for many Africans who come to the U.S. to get an education. Most of them don't get any money. They can't apply for financial aid. So they have to pay
They
out
raise
of
it,
pocket.
yeah.
Whether
Wow.
they have to work 3 jobs, 10 jobs to make it happen, or their people have to keep selling stuff so they
Wow.
can keep you in school so you can finish. They find a way. But the good thing is when they finish college, most of them have 0 debt.
Wow.
So they are already ahead.
Yeah.
And so the money that they are making, they are able to support their families back home, their siblings, and upgrade the family's living standard. So if they didn't have a good structured home, they can build them a good structured
Yeah.
home. So you see, they
This just sounds like a fantasy to
and
me.
and so you see that community can see, wow, and surely we sent a good child to America.
I am convinced. I am convinced, and nobody can tell me anything different. That is our biggest problem is that we will not unify. That's my.
That isn't.
I think that
Nobody
is it, too.
nobody can convince me different because I see so many great ideas and so many people that are trying to do stuff, but everybody's trying to do it on their own, or everybody has to be the leader, and people don't know how to be good team players. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, you're fed into the American nonsense. Is that you know, and I have to tell you, it's true. It's
Right.
you're fed into the American nonsense that
that's all we know.
that driving a Benz is the whole thing. So you spend 40,000 and you don't have a house.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's that whole nonsense that you want to reach. You want to be on the totem pole, but you don't want to climb the branches.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it goes into the drugs. It goes into little foolishness that we do as black people,
Right.
trying to reach a totem pole. But the whole thing, if you look at even to win election, or you have to talk to each other to figure out who support us or who will support us.
Yes.
But nobody's talking to each other. What they're doing is just they're doing it on their own, and they're expecting, and it's failing, and they're expecting a different result every time they try.
You know what? This Tuesday, next Wednesday coming up, we're doing a listening party at Brick House for my son. My son is a really, really, really good writer and artist, and he writes from his soul and about experiences. He's a conscious rapper, and he's had a couple offers from some labels, that were looking or whatever. And I want to bring investors, and this is just an example. I've invited some investors to come, but because I think that's the way we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, to keep your independence and not be controlled by the powers that be. We need to get behind our own children, and then we remain. Our voice is heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like with HighVibe. We really need to build this, honestly, so that we have a platform where we can control the content that is going across the air, even if it's a little bitty piece of something. It's still what we have. And if we get enough people to support it and buy into it, then we can grow and grow and grow and grow. And then you have one popping up over here and over here. And then to me, that's how you change. That's how you begin to change, because it's not going to happen if we don't get behind each other. It's just, I don't see it.
Yeah, you need a new mindset.
But I don't, I'm just trying to, like, how do we get, is it time?
Yeah,
How do we get to the point of even having that conversation? We got 10 minutes and we have to do our wrap up. This has been a really good conversation, and we're going to definitely have to have you guys. Well, we're going to do it at Brick House in front of an audience where you can invite all of your African friends so we can have a good dialogue. And fill up the room and just really ask some questions about culture differences, and even sometimes I just like to sit at the feet and listen to stories and culture and history that I will never be exposed to. So we definitely appreciate you guys coming out. So what we like to do is our final thoughts of the night. So we just go around the table and everybody will give their final thoughts, just like a quick minute of your analysis of the conversation. So we'll start with you, Dr. Lucy.
Thank you so much,
You hit the
Lotus,
camera.
for inviting us,
You hit it.
inviting me to this show. It has been so great. The conversation was so fruitful. But I think there's still so much more left for us to talk about.
You took so long.
And so I think we have started something great here. The differences are not that what we should focus on. I think we need to look at what are our strengths, both communities, what are our strengths, and work on that. Because our differences will always be our differences, but they're not going to be, they should not be that significant in our way moving forward.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to us having this conversation again and see where we take it. Thank you.
I am too.
Okay. Hello again. Noah speaking. I burst into it and I kicked the door down. But basically, I'm glad to join you guys. Thanks for the opportunity. my thoughts is that we African, whether you're from Africa or you're the 10th or 50th generation down, I think it's time we change our mindset. And the mindset means that it's, as we mentioned it around the table, it's unifying. And unifying does not mean you can't do individual stuff. It just means that you come together with one thought for success and help grow the next generation. That's even the most important thing that we could do for our community, is to grow the next generation. With the mindset, we have a financial economy called African American, believe it or not. We spend a whole bunch of money buying BMWs and Benz and
Red
things
bottom
like that.
shoes.
And we should be building apartments and you know, building
Grocery
factories,
stores and
yeah,
banks and
that's what we should be doing.
universities.
Yeah, creating wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my prayer is that that we do a reset and come together. I will join the conversation anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you jumping in too.
Yes.
All right, my sister.
Whew. If you watched the show, or those of you that have watched the show, please share it with your friends and encourage your friends to share it with their friends and family and so on and so forth, because this is a much needed discussion and we can't possibly cover everything in 2 hours, in one show. So this is definitely a discussion that we need to continue until we see some change. Like with most of our discussions, we need to enact change. We just can't talk about it. We need to be about it. And the Black of the Berry is the platform to where we bring this to your attention. We spark conversation. We do all of these things so that we can make a difference. But I jotted down some things that were said. Brand ourselves. I think you said that, Dr. Lucy. Like, we need to start branding ourselves and not, and stop letting other people identify who we are as a people, as a group, as a culture. The village concept, we need to really embody that, because as you was explaining the village concept, my eyes just went.
Oh my God, I was just thirsty.
Yeah, I was gonna drop a couple of tears, but I was like, you better not. Like, you better hold those tears in. So, but it's such a beautiful concept, and by you explaining that, that just made me feel like man, that's just
It's
something
so
that I
real.
long for, you know. And I know that I act like a Black American. I do, because I try to do everything on my own, and I know about the concept, but it's like a programming. Like you said, it's a programming. You also said something that I thought was very important, Dr. Lucy. You said invite Africans to our events and vice versa. Like, that's the only way that we're going to get to really know each other and know our culture, because someone said we need to stop focusing on the differences and focus on our likenesses and how we can come together. And travel is so important, because it's so hard to get people to travel outside of their state, let alone outside of the country. You know what I mean? So, and look, Dr. Lucy said it don't cost that much. You can go in the off season. So save your money and try to travel at least one time in your lifetime out of the country. And teaching is the last thing that I want to talk about. Man, teaching always starts at home. If you don't know, look at some documentaries. We're in an age of technology now, so we have access to a wealth of information. So utilize it. That's all I got to say.
What you got, G?
I gotta say we gotta go back to. I ain't gonna say the American way. We gotta go back to the African way of discipline, hard work, respect, and I think that was part of why you say, white Americans accept Africans sometimes more than African Americans, because it's a bit different, because their mindsets are different from a lot of ours. Now, why that is, I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm just saying it's like the way we're bringing our kids up is we've gotten away from what works for us. And I tell people all the time, you cannot, if you are black, you cannot raise your kids like white parents raise their kids. It's not the same
different
game.
reality.
You're going to raise them like other races, which not saying nothing's wrong with how they raise their kids, but that's not us allowing our kids to dictate what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, talking back, cursing, disrespecting elderly, not knowing how to respect authority in public. That's not how we, that's not blacks from Africa, and it's not blacks from, back in slavery. So how do we
it ain't blacks from the 50s.
It's not us, because we're in America.
Right.
Your child, your black child being raised a certain way that's going to, teach them that they have more authority than they have in the white America. So you need to teach your child some respect and authority that's going to help them to survive in America, and it'll help us get to where we're going. But the way we're going now, it's too many. The kids just have too much power in these homes, and a lot of times, not saying those where there aren't any guidance, but even the homes where there's money and there's it's still, we're still in putting the wrong information in our kids, and we need to go back to that African style of the village and discipline, and you need to get an education or get educated about something instead of the materialism that is just killing our people.
Right.
So that's my final thought, that we need to go back to
Some of
African
the
proverbs, basically.
So this has been a wonderful conversation, and again, I want to thank both of you for sitting at the table with us. Also thank Queen Agnes. I know she wanted to come, but she was traveling, and there was a delay. But thank you for the attempt. We will definitely have another conversation soon. We're going to do a live one at Brick House, probably at the end of October, so we have a little bit of time to market it and promote it and get it out there to give people the opportunity to come on a Sunday afternoon. My analysis of the conversation is everything that everybody has said at the table. I think we have to have a thirst for who we are and a love for our people that is unmovable. And I think that we have to get there. You cannot love like that if you don't want to know. You have to want to know. And then you can start there. And you all said, celebrate the similarities and not so much the differences. But I want to know the differences too, because that puts me in a position to learn something new that's different than what I know, the good and the bad. Because I can even learn from some of the bad experiences, or gain from some of the good traditions that you all have, that you were exposed to, that we never knew. Because all we had is what somebody told us. And that somebody was the one who kept us in bondage. Exactly. And those are the powers that be. But I think this is so extremely important that we see every person as our brother and sister of African heritage. I don't care how dark, how light, what country you come from, what continent, a black person. When you see one, that you can't mistake that. And that is your brother, that is your sister. And if we could get back to adopting each other like that and loving on each other like that and caring about each other like that, then it matters to me about your well-being. Then that means I'm going to treat you right, because I see you as not just somebody that I don't identify with, but I see you as my brother. I see you as my sister. And when we hold dear and precious our tradition, our culture, our roots, it gives us a foundation. And so my cry out to anybody that's listening is, you can never know enough. So keep learning. You can never, ever, ever, ever know it all. So never stop reading, never stop researching, never stop conversating with people. Place yourself in the position to be taught by people who know something that you don't know. that puts you in a position of power. So get all that you can of who you are, because it'll make you proud. I mean, everything changes when you really adapt into like you know, in the 70s and the 60s it started the Black Power movement, but that was really just our pride, and that's what we need, is to get back to the pride that we have in being proud that we are Africans, period. I don't care if you want an African American, African from Jamaica, African in Cuba. The bottom line is you African. So love on that and adopt it and teach your children to be proud of that. That is our time tonight on the Black and the Berry. We appreciate y'all coming. You know what we forgot to talk about? What happened to my children?
Oh.
I cannot believe we did not talk about that on the Black and the Berry.
We did.
I
We should've did that in
never
the
told
very
me, so I don't know.
You know a little bit.
I don't know.
But we'll talk about it probably not next week because G won't be here. But they had a real serious situation out in Grand Prairie that we probably are going to reach out to the community to get behind us on. A real bad discriminating situation for my children. And that's what we about. We about supporting our own and coming together as a community to take care of business, good and the bad, and we gonna handle it together as one. That's our time tonight on the Black and the Berry. Thank y'all. We holla at you. Peace.
Peace. Man, that was an amazing show.
Was it?
Yes.